But I'll put the link in the chat in just a second. Ladies and gentlemen of the interwebs, welcome to the Beacon TV show. Can't even talk today. Welcome to the Beacon TVL show, the weekly podcast from Beacon DeFi, your beacon in the world of decentralized finance. I'm your host, Professor Chris, the DeFi professor. We've got a great show lined up for you today as we tackle the news of the week that's relevant to you, our dear users in the world of on-chain investing. Today on the show, we have, starting with the person beneath me, our rotating panelist today, coming to us from the great middle of the European Union, world traveling DJ and representing Talisman Wallet. A lovely welcome to Robert. How are you, sir? How was your burger?
Doing great. Yeah, here in Berlin. Yeah.
What did you top the burger with? I gotta ask.
Very minimal.
So you're a burger minimalist, I see.
Yeah, cheese, onion, ketchup, and tomato and avocado. Actually, that's a good amount.
Yeah. That's quite the topping, sir. What kind of cheese is that?
Cheddar.
Ooh, cheddar is better.
White cheddar. Yeah.
White. Oh,
white cheddar.
Ooh, that's a choice. All right,
yeah.
Excellent.
It was the choice I found in this German market.
It was the only cheese in front of me, so that's the cheese I'm choosing. Yeah. I see.
But I'm full of beef and ready to go.
Yeah. I love it. I wish I could say the same. And we have our featured panelist today to my right on the screen, making his first appearance on our show, and hopefully not the last, from multiple projects across the blockchain, such as Lazy Lions, but today coming to us as a premier coin on the abstract chain with more than 5,000 holders, ladies and gentlemen, founder of Run with GUGO, the GUGO coin, Kaneco. Welcome, sir. How are you?
Good. How are we doing? I am beefless, but I'm happy to be here.
I'm beef aspirational, to be quite honest.
Beef aspirational. I like that.
I'm gonna push for beef for dinner tonight. That sounds fantastic, I will say. Before we get to the news, I did want to go ahead and ask this question of both of you. So I was on a BD call yesterday, and someone asked me this question. I wanted to ask the question to you guys. What do you think is the key to building a community for a project? King, we'll start with you.
Building a community. From zero? Oh, that's a tough question, right? From zero, you have to really push everything and start with one person and get with two, right? It's like quite that simple. But then you have to give them the opportunity to build on that. They have to bring in their friends, but then you have to give them a platform, right? You have to encourage them to grow themselves, because if there's no room in it for their upside personally and fiduciary, you really don't get the type of person that will be there and lasting, if you will. And so, I mean, if they really have that core basis, then I think you're able to grow a community from zero. And then bottom line, though, you still have to have a good narrative. So if there's no narrative to go with it, then you're kind of just leading a group of wanderers. I think we see that with a lot of, I don't know if you will, protests, right? Where there's no good narrative. They think they have a community, but it's just very much a lost souls. If you give them a narrative to push behind and a goal to reach while supporting them at the same time, I think you have a good basis point to build a strong community.
Yeah, completely agree. Robert, my actual answer, I told him, I was like, honestly, build a cult. You want your project to be like a religion. You want to have a great product you ship, something that feeds its users, and something that just makes them want to be there and only there moving forward. So would love to get your thoughts on, what do you feel is the key to building a great community?
Yeah, for sure. I think I would echo some of the things that Kenko said, but also, it's in our world, it's a lot of it's based around incentive structures also. I think it's a combination of narrative and incentive structures, and then a dash of fun, right? So there has to be some sort of meme or fun element in there, some sort of character to the community. But I've given a lot of thought to that over the years, especially in terms of how airdrops were used to build communities, incentivize people, different types of rewards, different roles. But it all basically centers around an expectation of what this market is all about, which is speculation based on a narrative or on a story.
I like that a lot. We're actually going to talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. And but first, let's kind of check out what we normally check out in the beginning here is specifically with the market. It's taken a little bit of a downturn. Obviously, we've had some people selling. I think it's just a big patch of market manipulation, but maybe one last little pullback before we get up to the moon. So, but don't tell that to BNB because BNB over $1,000 is mind blowing in my personal opinion. When we were close to the Mendoza line, where it was almost $200, not that long ago. At least to me, it didn't seem like that long ago, and that's because a month is a year in DeFi. But we weren't that far away from that. Looking at bubbles specifically, looking at the day, that's reflected with Aster up another 15%. Flare blockchain at 15% up as well. For those of you who are XRP enjoyers, we're looking at possibly looking more into Flare very soon. With ETHFI also up, but we'll talk about the launch of Plasma in just a little bit for XPL, so that'll be out there. But overall, we're seeing an interesting mix of green and red. Just want to get quick thoughts, gentlemen, on any of these narratives that, or rather these stories that we're seeing out here that look interesting. Obviously, right now we're in the middle of Korea Blockchain Week. There's a lot of our panelists that would normally be here that are actually out in Seoul right now, enjoying the festivities with all of everything that's going on out there. So, Kenko, I'll start with you. Any thoughts on what you're seeing here with some of these stories on what possibly could be kind of brewing from all of this, if there's anything to read from these leaves?
Just looking at the bubbles, first off, because it's right in front of me, Aster leading the charge, right? And so then you look at really things connected to it, and Cake pops out, taking a little bit of growth on that because, they get a lot of the bridge over.
Right.
And then you got Arrow down, which is probably a sign that, a lot of base money moving back over to Aster. And I think you just kind of find those little market movements right in there. And I don't know, that's some of the things that I look for right off. But overall, the market, with everything kind of dumping, I would agree there's some manipulation, but because we should be, Powell yesterday dropped a little bit of negative news,
Right.
Nothing crazy that should drive us down overall. I mean, I'm still long on all my perps, and so, I think we're in a good place. I'm not really worried about anything. A couple short dips. Hype, I think, is the same thing, down 4.5%. When you look at Aster's rise, I mean, you look at competition driving that. Hype's up a little bit more. I thought it would be down more, and so I'm kind of surprised there, actually. I thought it would hit down about 10%. I had a little short for a while, but other than that, yeah, it's kind of just where some money's moving overall.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head. They're only down 4. They were actually down 12 on the news that a huge whale that accumulated from TGE started to take profit. Actually, they sold their whole position. Also, Arthur Hayes famously also sold his entire position, and his reasoning with Maelstrom was because of specifically that there's a token unlock in November that they're trying to get ahead of.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that personally makes sense, but Robert, there's some sell the news types of events, and this is an interesting look into the current maybe cross section of DeFi with what's up here. Immutable also up 8%, very interesting for their GameFi chain. It's interesting to kind of see the narratives are starting to pop up with all things considered.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you took what I was going to say was the Arthur Hayes thing. But I wonder how much of this is actually money flowing from Hype straight to Aster, or if it's just like a natural cool off,
Might be a little bit of both, right? Could be a little bit of both.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but
I mean, in terms of market cap, I mean, Aster has a lot of room to run. If you compare it to Hype, so there's also that too.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see where we go from here. We'll go and kind of, speaking of Aster, we're kind of floating into perps. Apparently, I didn't know that e-trading is a sport. Apparently, it's not, but they're treating it like an esports event. This is actually happening, I guess, in I take that back. They're actually sitting here in chairs. I did not look at that closely enough. Oh, our guys from Variational. Shout out to Max, who's been on panel a couple of times. Variational.io and Arbitrum. Then there's I think it's called Gravity right there, Edge X, and then not sure which one that is. I don't recognize. Oh, that's Lighter. That's Lighter. I can just tell from the logo. But what's interesting is that outside of Hyperliquid, none of these are technically on their own chain. Aster has hinted that they may create a chain. Hyperliquid is just going to outperform them because they're on their own Cosmos layer 1 with hundreds of thousands of TPS. So we're in a situation, guys, where perps are just taking the news front and center to the point that Justin Sun on Tron has created Sun Perp.
Of course
he has, right? So the days of the old, and I was just talking to someone about this yesterday. The days of what used to be DYDX, synthetics, and GMX, now all left in the dust, in my personal opinion, with Hyperliquid, Lighter on Arbitrum, Avantis on Base, and then Aster on BNB chain, and now Sunperp on here on Tron. I mean, I'll start with you, Kaneko, but it's like interesting that with some of the moves we were talking about before we came on the show, CEX could soon be a thing of the past, to be quite honest, for a lot of traders looking to trade on chain with all of this news coming. So you mentioned you have some longs on perps. Tell me a little bit about your experience and why you think this narrative is just so hot right now.
It's ease of use always, right? And I think, it was a little too fractured with all the CEXs, right? And like when you get a simple platform like what Hyperliquid is, it allows really anybody to do it rather simply and easily. And then really tie it in with this narrative, like the gaming aspect of it, right? We see this in a lot of people are creating new games like this also that are just based in this whole system of, trading charts and turning it into a game. I mean, in reality, we have the Excel World Championships on ESPN. And so, there is
people really?
that, yes, it's an actual sport.
Is it on the Ocho?
I think might be on the 3.
Oh, it might be on the 3. Cool.
Yeah. But no, it's one of those wild things where, so many people are doing it and so many streams that are out there of people watching this is, I can do this too. And you can click a couple buttons on Hyper and like, boom, you're like have a perp. And like, when it's that easy, I think you all of a sudden have everyone thinking they can do it, and it's going to drive up the price of, Hyper, quite simply. And I think we're seeing that. The same thing with Aster, because if they think that Aster is going to get it, it's really just going to drive that even more, especially with CZ backing it and, Binance. And so it makes it super easy. I think everybody will kind of go that way. And I think, is it a bad thought that Binance is taking over everything? I think that's something that we worried about before with the market manipulation that they can do, especially in, the US market will worry about that.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, that's just something to watch out for in the back end also. I mean, will there be too much if Aster becomes too big?
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I mean, I personally, when you started talking about this and I saw this, it reminded me of the poker, the Hold'em breakout, right? Yeah. With Moneymaker. How the everyday man can come in and trade perps. For those who are not familiar with the perps, think of them as DeFi options. They're native to DeFi. You can't find them on a CEX. It's like having an option on a stock that normally has like an expiration date, but these don't have expiration dates in DeFi. So you're literally taking long and short positions with leverage in most cases on their futures. And there's a little bit of a thrill for that. We in our group, we specifically like to play against the behavior of this by providing liquidity in most of these perp dexes that allow them, and you actually get to profit off their behavior. So that's the fun part about this, is that there are two sides in terms of how you can earn here, in terms of just if you have the trading itch, do this, or you can specifically just provide liquidity and benefit that way as well in a really good passive way. Our friends at Symphony, who were on the show about a month ago, they're trading their AI agent, Symphony, or Simpson, rather, I think is one of the most fantastic innovations I've seen this year. One that everyone should definitely check out, because like this, it makes it supremely easy, and you can set your perps with natural language. So Robert, I wanted to get your opinion on this. I don't know how much of a trader you are, but to see that they're actually having these and people are interested, again, bringing the everyday aspect to this, could something like this be the reason why retail slowly starts to creep back in? That's what I'm curious about with everything that's breaking out.
Yeah. I think what Kenko said is correct. With it's the ease of use, and I think it won't happen right away. But and let's say 6 months, a year from now, it could be next cycle too. But that natural, this kind of like AI assisted, even chatbot integrated dexes, or wallets or apps or whatever, dApps or whatever, will make it even easier to use, because you won't even have to click the buttons.
Yeah,
you'll just
you're absolutely
literally
right.
type it in. And so that'll make it even more gamified too, because it's like you're not even the one doing the technical analysis. Like you're just
Exactly.
it's like a prompt game, literally.
Yeah.
At that point, yeah.
Well, shout out to Roach Racing on Abstract for having a fun game where you can trade charts. I know it's just, is it just Bitcoin, or can you actually trade other charts? Because if you can trade other charts, I mean, I would be in Roach Racing a lot, to be quite honest. But
Wouldn't that be crazy though? Like a world where the best prompters are the best traders.
well, that's kind of how it is inside of BitTensor, isn't it? The best their best miners are the best traders, because they're helping train the signals specifically for things that Taushi. So, speaking of easy access, I mean, Perps inside the Rabby wallet there on the front page is just, it's crazy, in my opinion. I mean, it's not crazy, but Phantom has it, Rabby has it, and now MetaMask wants to do it. And yeah, I think you said ease of use, having everything there in the palm of your hand is going to drive this next meta. It's crazy because I thought prediction markets was going, and maybe it will be too. The idea of having blockchain based prediction markets mainstream probably will be a thing now that Blinks and these other types of blockchain link type technology are coming to the surface. So we may see retail come in on multiple fronts, not just on perp trading, but also through prediction markets. I think it's really fascinating to see how this is all going to play out. I don't know. I'd like to see in the chat, if you are a Tron user, are you going to use SunPerp? I've never bridged to Tron. Actually, I take that back. I have, but I don't actively use it. But I'm curious to see how this is going to play out, assuming that things with Justin Sun don't go crazy, because he's suing Bloomberg for trying to publish his right. Bloomberg, yeah, for his actual wallet. So
yeah, I think Tron was my third coin ever.
Really? TRX, eh?
Yeah. So there's that. But no, I probably wouldn't use Justin Sun's platform. I mean, probably overall, but like I think a lot of people will. And I mean, there'll start to be some more competition, right? Because competition is going to breed lower prices and better perps, and so we'll see some really good stuff and better incentives, like Robert talked about, right? Who has the best incentives and long-term growth and coin airdrops, right? I think that's the platforms that are just going to be hyped and rotate through. I still think Poly Market and all the other prediction markets have a different kind of game. I think they're still growing and learning. I don't think mainstream has quite picked up on everything that they can do. But once like real traders, like real stock traders really get into these perp trading, I mean, I think it's going to be a totally different market, because I mean, once they start coming in with their knowledge, I mean, besides everyone else just clicking buttons, they'll start to own some markets and start to really differentiate.
No, I agree. And to Hyperliquid's lore, people are still trying to farm season 2 of the Hype airdrop, right? So yeah, people are trying to do that with Aster. People are trying to do that even with Poly Market. And ultimately, we're going to see more of these airdrops be true volume drivers, because people want to get a piece of the action but still get a little bit of rebate back from doing what they're doing, because we do say that 95% of traders lose money. So it's like, if you're looking for ways to kind of bet against, hedge your bets, get in there, continue to make money back on the backside, they're definitely going to do it. So curious to see how the Aster airdrop will kind of come in, and that's a great segue into our next segment, specifically about the fact that, guys, it's going to be airdrop and TGE season in Q4 in a way that I was not expecting. First, MetaMask was like, yeah, we're launching a token, and it turned out to be stablecoin MUSD with that they did with M0. So yay for that. But then they decided to, well, Joe Lubin came out 2 weeks ago, just literally just said, yeah, we're doing a token and it's coming soon. After 4 years of just silence,
Yes,
we're finally going to have a MetaMask token. We don't know what the criteria are going to be. And as Whale Fud says here, he's prepared for his $5 airdrop. But this idea launched a bunch of other people, wallets specifically, talking about, launching a token such as Rainbow, which is coming in Q4 of 2025. Our beloved Talisman is also launching a token in Q4 2025.
For the record, we had it planned already.
Exactly. I know. And Robert's been on the show talking about it for probably about 6 months now. And then we also have Rabby literally just talking about the market cap. I don't know if they're actually going to have, well, they have Rabby points in the wallet. So yes, eventually they may possibly have a token. We'll get back to these guys in just a minute. OpenSea, my goodness, well, my messages stopped showing up. OpenSea, sweeping floors, Mutant Apes, Pudgies, Azukis, mainly because the C token is coming out very soon. They're building a little bit of a treasury for people who have been grinding out these chests to get the right tier. And then we have Plasma, which is the Bitfinex layer 1, USDT focused. This launches tomorrow at 8 Eastern. A lot of people that I know got into the XPL pre-sale, spending thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars in gas to get in quickly and early. This will be an interesting TGE whenever that actually launches. But going back to the wallet pieces, I'll start with you on this, Robert. I know why you guys are curious about getting a token, but why does MetaMask and Rainbow Wallet and Rabby need a token?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I mean, okay, so there's a little preview of why our tokenomics is which we're going to talk about next week, by the way.
Oh, really?
The info. Yeah, we're gonna have a tokenomics reveal, AMA, basically.
Nice.
Yeah, so there'll be that. But part of it, really quickly, there's utility, right? I mean, there's some we'll offer fee discounts for swaps and for staking on BitTensor, for example. There'll be some DeFi AI utility down the road as well. Might take some months to develop that, but I mean, we have utility planned, and with Rabby, for example, I can see utility there too.
I can see utility there as well. I mean, not to piss in MetaMask's Wheaties, but they've hyped this for so long, Kaneco. It's like, I don't know what I do with my MetaMask token other than maybe get a break on the 7/8 fee that I pay for swaps inside the wallet.
True. Yeah, I would hope. Well, one, I think if you're holding enough tokens, you get free some free swaps or something like that, or heavily discounted. But overall, one, reward incentives work, right? We have reward tokens for Delta and everything also. So something that a utility, something that everybody uses on a daily basis, with a design system to reward people monetarily, I think works for MetaMask. I think it will help grow their customer base. Do I think they should have did it a long time ago? Probably, but also, I don't know. They probably waited till the right time with the market coming back also. So, I mean, they may be in a good spot to release it at the right time. If they're teasing perps and a lot of other things, I mean, there's a lot of things they can do with it and utilize it for those functions. So I'm not as worried about utility overall. I think there's some strong stuff they could do with that and really utilize it in cool ways. Let alone rewarding people and getting people back, because increased competition now it's, you see this with OpenSea also, Blur forced them to really, start thinking about a token again. And so, I think that's the same with MetaMask, right? Everybody's coming along. Phantom just teased it and like, earlier this year, late last year, and like MetaMask was like, okay, we should have meetings again probably, and like they probably designed it like right after like Phantom, everybody was doing Phantom friending each other just to try to farm an airdrop. And I think, that's maybe when they did, and maybe they looked at it and said, like, actually, maybe we could do something, and this actually does make sense, and start building it out from there. And so, yeah, I think it's one is good for the market, which is always fun on both fronts. All the big wallets dropping coins helps everyone, especially the loyal users. And so, if it's the case and everything comes out, I mean, may it be less than people want? Oh yeah, it will always be. I mean, everybody wants the the hyperliquid drop again, right? They want to just be
or the
instant, like
Arbitrum drop. Yeah.
right, or the Arbitrum drop, right? Or Optimism was a big one too. And all of those that produce like 6 figures for people, just 5 figures for normal users. And like, they want those again. They want the Bored Ape drop again, really, with all of their coins. And so, they want that free money again, so people will complain. But I think overall, I mean, with a number of people that use it and have used it since, I don't know, 2017, like, I mean, there's a strong narrative for like that growth to continue if they do it in the right way.
And really, MetaMask could probably thank Rabby for taking so much of their lunch, because it probably will make it so it made it easier for them to take out any Sybils or anything like that regarding that, because not as many people are using. And Phantom, same, Phantom, same thing, taking a lot of some of that share. But I think so to me, what the reason why it didn't make sense at first was because now we have Dynamic, now we have Privy making smart wallets. You have all of these AI agents who create a wallet on the backside for you. So, at the same time, to me, it was just like, did we really need a token for smart wallets? And now that I've had some time to think about it, I think based on what you've been talking about, the real win here is that what these guys are doing is they're building moats. And I think that's probably the main reason why the token makes a lot more sense now. Now that interoperability has become a lot better, now they're just trying to build moats. I mean, the same reason why Jupiter's been building a moat. Same reason why Uniswap has been building a huge moat. I think these guys are going to start trying to build moats to bring one-stop shop type stuff, more loyalty things for users coming in. Rainbow's a really interesting one, so I'm curious to see where that goes. To us, I mean, we're looking for a huge drop specifically for Meteora. That's been announced. That's coming out next month. For those of you who have been in our mastermind for a while, we've talked about Meteora up and down the streets. One of our favorite places to do some of our favorite concentrated liquidity strategies. So our community is going to get a very handsome Meteora airdrop. Also, if you're a Jupe staker, you'll also get a really good part of the Meteora airdrop as well. We'll see where all this goes. It's going to be a lot of interesting movement happening in Q4 with all of this moving. So last thing I'll ask you guys before we move on, is there any specific project or TGE that I didn't mention or that I did mention that you're specifically looking forward to? Start with you, Kinko.
I mean, Reply Corp for me, I think is something unique and different. You may have seen that on the timeline. I know we're investing in it with Lazy Lions, and I think it's one of the unique things because it actually bridges a lot of in real life products, and I think normal users will use it. I mean, personally, we're building some stuff on top of it for real estate agents and finance people and a lot of other things to utilize it. And ideally, they won't even know that they're buying the token to pay for their monthly fees. And I think that's going to drive up and be a really, really good product because not many products or TGEs in the crypto space merge directly into direct revenue from agencies and brands across the United States, for instance. Beyond that, I mean, I'm loving some OpenSea and MetaMask because I mean that's just been 5.
Is this the Reply Corp airdrop you're talking about?
Yeah. Reply Corp.
Yeah. Just want to make sure that
unique
I wasn't missing
system.
it. Yeah, viral marketing, right?
Viral marketing. Yep.
Right on.
With a shared incentive because it measures actual buys and sells. Because one of the things we'll look at for GUGO, if you buy GUGO, post your transaction on the timeline, it will actually give you points also. So it's
Right.
actually
Yes.
it's conversion based as opposed to just like posting about things. It's a better info file. And then they expand to the meta channels also. So Instagram, Facebook, then it actually merges into something even bigger.
That's really good. That's in the same, lane as things like Banker, Clanker, and all of those types that live and watch. So that's really cool. I definitely need to dig into this a little bit more myself, because I've heard of it. I just haven't really looked into it. So awesome. Thank you for that. Robert, which one are you looking forward to the most?
Talisman? No.
Yes, I know that. Yes.
No, actually, to be honest, I don't really have any like projects on my radar where I think there's going to be some big bang for your buck airdrop, besides the ones you already mentioned, maybe. But do you think we can include Base in the
You took
list
my
of
answer, brother.
moats? Yeah. And the list of like, for their everything app, building the moat there for sure.
Yeah, I was talking about it last week. I think that the Base token is not going to be a governance token. I think it's going to be a creator and builder incentive coin when they release it, because that's the one thing that Jesse Pollack has stated multiple times that he wants to do, is to build the ultimate economy for creators, for builders, on a decentralized blockchain. I could definitely see Base becoming its own layer 1 at some point, to help with that. Maybe that gets a bit more messy. It's going to take some time before that, because they're technically contracted, I think. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about it.
Are they just going to render Zora irrelevant? They do that?
Well, no, because they all steal from each other, right? They all share the same tech with regards to how that works. I mean, it's based directly off of Zora, and they said at Basecamp it's based directly off of what they did with virtuals. The model they have is specifically based off of what they did with the virtuals, taking the agents and pairing it against the virtual coin and LPs. So
that makes sense.
I think it's really interesting to kind of see what's going to happen with that. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see how Q4 is going to go. At least it's something for us to do, honestly, because I think people were honestly a bit bored, right? We've been a bit bored this summer. Yeah, things have happened, but overall, we hit an all-time high. Then we lost it. Then we came back, and I think people are chopped to death, and I think they've been a bit bored, and they're looking for something to do. So I think we're going to see a lot of volume coming back into DeFi from a lot of big accounts to help just drive volume and help things kind of move along. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to our next topic. This is one that I thought is interesting, mainly just from the partnerships. I don't know a ton about this company, but Fold is coming out with a Bitcoin rewards credit card backed by Stripe and Visa. Coinbase has their Coinbase Visa 4% BTC. That's an Amex card, so you get all the platinum Amex benefits from that. Gemini has their own, I believe it's a MasterCard, that gives you rewards back in BTC. They launched that just ahead of Bitcoin 2025 in Las Vegas. So I'm curious to see. This is up to looks like 3.5% back on purchases and a 2% unlimited base rate if you have a Fold checking account and any merchant partnerships. So, I mean, this is another way to earn BTC. I don't know. Is this a good way to DC into BTC by earning back on things you were going to buy anyway? We'll start with you, Robert.
I don't know. Like, these things don't appeal to me too much. I mean, I think I qualified for the MetaMask card. I think that's what it was.
All right.
But there was yearly fees also, and I was like, am I really going to use this enough to make that back? Probably, yeah. But like, I don't know. It just seems so marginal to me that doesn't really move the needle for me too much.
Sure. I was just asking because I know you've been bankless since 2021. So do cards like this to someone like you, does this something that makes sense? Just to buy groceries and earn BTC.
That's more than I'm getting with Coinbase right now,
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
How about you, Kenko? What do you think about these types of things? Are like the cast card even? Are they worth it?
I mean, I don't know. I'd rather get into the Delta Lounge mostly, but I mean,
Fair enough.
even that's not that exciting. But like, I don't know. I've used the Coinbase card forever, but like, and it's a tiny bit. But I mean, that tiny bit turns into a good bit because I mean, I've been doing BTC for like on it for like 2 years maybe now, and so it adds up. And as the price of Bitcoin goes up, I mean, you're making even more rate. So if you consider your long-term rate, it's probably a better deal than they actually like publicize and talk about. I think this is just more so Stripe and Visa and everybody like really pushing because they know payment processing is going away, and those fees for the middleman are being
That's a
driven
great
away.
point. Yep.
And we have to try to again build your moat. Like, how can we do this and get customers and start to reward them in a unique way? And I think they're gonna have to bump the numbers a lot because I mean, I think once we saw it in our Basil. I mean, I've talked about it a good bit, but like we dropped base packages for like tattoo shops around Miami just to set them up to like take stablecoin, right for their payments, eliminate payment processing. And that's Jesse's plan overall with Base overall is to like build this from the ground up. And
Yep.
if they start to do that in like a heavy push, then all of a sudden you'll see really aggressive from a Visa doing something totally different, or there'll be more acquisitions. I mean, they're going to want a piece of this. They want to be the middleman. How can they be the middleman again?
It all comes back around, doesn't it? It just be a same scheme, just different infrastructure, I think, at some point. But no, I think you're absolutely right on that. That's fantastic insight. So we're going to be in a time where you're not going to have to wait 24 hours and stuff like that for things to settle. We're going to have instant settlement, and it's here, and it's been tested for years. It's going to start happening, using blockchain. MasterCard and Visa have put in a ton of money into R&D on this. I was talking to MasterCard specifically at Permissionless in New York. They're ready to move, and they're reaching out to merchants. They can settle fees in USDC on all their entire network now. And PayPal just opened up, buy and trade with crypto a couple weeks ago with PayPal World. So, yeah, the world is changing. It's all a matter of how do we get regular people to kind of start using it to get into that to that mode. And I think stuff like this is a good appetizer for that, because I know there's going to be a lot of people who think the internet's still funny money or just crypto is funny money, then they're really hesitant to use this. But once they get in there and see the benefits of having instant settlement, not having to wait days for things like that, I think these are things that are going to be good for them, specifically from the merchant side. I think that's going to be, tackling the entire SMB market is going to be key, because that's what drives a lot of local usage, right? Small and medium businesses, not necessarily the big guys and the banks. It's really the small and medium businesses getting all of these things, as you mentioned in our Basil. These are going to be things that are going to be important. So, last thing before we go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to agree with you. Yeah, I was going to say solid. Yeah, but I mean, to me, it's just crazy because I mean, once you layer in DeFi to that, I think it's going to be very aggressive, because if you're making instant revenue on your payment that you've already received, the instant you collect it and you're starting to earn 7 to 8% on your USDC, then I think we see a totally different market. And I think that incentive rolls down to the consumer, and it's going to force them to actually pay in those things, because if they can offer a 5% discount for paying with USDC, you'll see people forced to, and they'll figure it out because it's so much easier and it's so much better for the small business.
Yeah. I think internationally, Robert, I think this makes a lot of sense for a lot more businesses to do this, just because if you're in a hyperinflationary environment, or you just want to have, anti-fragile, censorship resistant fiat currency, this makes a ton of sense, right?
Yeah. You also just throw in there like the proliferation of stable coins. And that whole plan, like you could say that's like a sort of a conspiracy theory, or a theory about like how the US plans to lower its debt by
using stable coins, right?
Using stable coins,
and T-bills. Got it.
But I think like with anything still, like the USD, the stablecoin part of it and earning interest is simple to understand, and like most users don't even have to necessarily understand that they're using crypto. But I think the point where it's really going to shift is when the natural interface of sending like from crypto to crypto, like stable coins to other people, is gonna get simplified, right? And so once that account abstraction really takes hold and like becomes like a really proper simple interface, is when this will take off. But
Yeah,
it'll be
that's where the base app comes in, right? Now that these other
yeah,
social apps, these moats that people are building, right?
yeah,
I think that makes a ton of sense.
yeah.
Before,
That's the main blocker now, I think.
yeah, I completely agree. I mean, let me go through this, and then we'll start talking about GUGO. So, and I forgot to share the screen. I met these guys in Las Vegas. They had a lot of juice, specifically about what they're doing, because they got GMX, they got Rover, and they got Dolomite on chain day one with their launch. This is Botanics Labs. They're a BTC layer 2, but they're compatible with, I believe it's BitVM for the EVM compatibility. They now have what I consider to be a revenue sharing token with their liquid staked BTC called STBTC. No affiliation with Lido, but you go and you park your BTC in their bridge with their federation. You get STBTC in return, and once you stake it into their system as part of the validation consensus, my guess is you earn 50% of the network fees as yield. So this is truly a revenue sharing token. If you have Bitcoin and you're looking for something to do with it, 34 is nutty. I mean, I thought 25 from Hermetica, which is a Bitcoin backed stablecoin, was nutty. I mean, 34, I mean, that's a big promise. But they've already done 10 million in transactions in the 2 months that they've been around. They do have a website at botanicslabs.com. You can go to yield.botanicslabs.com if you have some BTC and you'd like to try this out. I would say if you did, do it with a very small amount, like $50 worth of BTC, just to kind of see if the maths. Also, because it's brand new, you don't want all your Bitcoin into something like this anyway. So ultimately, I think this is quite interesting because they're actually there are multiple projects here like Blend, GMX, Dolomite, Bitsy, and Arch that are most likely rehypothecating the money from that and putting it into their systems to help contribute to this yield that's being shared with everybody who's here. As more people come into Botanics, I do expect this yield to go down significantly, right? The reason why this is high is because there aren't enough people in Botanics taking advantage of it. The moment that more people come in to dilute this yield, this should go down. But still, you go to Aave and you put WBTC and you get 0.04% or something like that. So this is a huge jump from that, Keiko. So I wanted to get your thoughts specifically on this type of mechanism.
I mean, overall, I love the idea of fee kickbacks.
Yep.
This system theoretically is, always works and, should provide good rewards all the time. But again, as the users increase, you'll see that decrease in the incentive is really lost, right? This only pops out as attention because it's a huge number. And you see that with a lot of the other things that come out and it's like, oh, you get it 1,000%. But I mean, eventually like the economics of it fail over time, like a lot. Initially the incentives and that what you earn starts to go down, people leave, and then the network fees are also less, and then it all just kind of like falls in on itself. I don't know. So I mean, these are one of those things where you pop in, maybe pop out after you've earned your money back, plus let some ride. But yeah, I don't know. I try not to play in a lot of these giant pools. I get burned every time.
Yeah, there is that. You come through and it looks great, and then you try it out, and then you realize maybe not so great. So that's why it's good to always just try it a little bit. Robert, 2,700 people, or 2,700 wallets are already staked here in the system that are earning 50% of network fees. So passively, do you think this is something that's a solid idea for anybody who has some Bitcoin and they're looking to do something with it?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a sustainable model or not. I mean, do you think that type of fee sort of give back is or kickback is sustainable?
Well, it's volume driven, right? So the thing is that frankly, there's not a ton of BTCL2s doing a lot right now, right?
Right.
We have Core, we have Rootstock, Stacks. Stacks is different, but
And those all had their meta like 2 years ago, right? So
well, they're coming back, right?
yeah.
Shout out to everybody at the BTC fight.
Yeah.
It's
But
coming.
that
We're
was like
coming back.
one of the few true bear market metas we had. Like
You know what they need?
Yeah.
They need a perp deck. And they do.
Yeah.
It's the GMX, but
Mhm.
they need a bigger perp decks or prediction market. And what?
Well, I would
Yeah,
also.
I guess
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I guess given how small the space still is, there's still opportunity there for
Yeah.
growth for sure.
Yeah, and that's the one thing. It's like you're definitely just kind of taking a chance. You're taking a flyer with this. So, but like I said, 2 to 5% of your Bitcoin portfolio, put it in here. If you start earning a little bit, pad a little more. Obviously, don't overinvest, but it could be a little revenue income stream as this thing grows. They've got the right partners at launch to really let things go and do well. Their marketing, their BD and marketing partnership guy is fantastic. So,
Nice.
best of luck to Botanics, and I hope that they do well. They should open up to great projects like GUGO. I think that would be a great expansion for it to do that. There we go. So again, I want to say thank you to Kane-Co and to Robert for being here. Let's move to GUGO in just a second. But first, let me just talk about our free group at Beacon DeFi called Total Value Locked. And if you are curious, I was told that we're going to be doing some pretty great giveaways soon. So if you want to learn more about decentralized finance, how to become a competent on-chain investor, join absolutely free. Learn from the best in the business. And I'm saying that because I feel like I've done a lot for this space. There are others on our team, of course, who are fantastic, but join a great community. Join for free. School.com/beacon. Check out our Start Here post. And you can, if you need the tools and the edge, you can join our Beacon Mastermind where you're with the best in the business. Or you can take the Beacon Challenge, make your first $1 in DeFi within 48 hours. So school.com/beacon. And we'll head over to our featured guest. I apologize. We were just yapping. But let's talk about Run with GUGO. Kane-Co,
I love
please
it.
Introduce it to the community.
No, so GUGO is a coin on Abstract, quite simply. It was created about, oh gosh, you're going to get me probably 75 days ago, maybe 85, give or take, somewhere in there. New on the Abstract chain. Abstract chain is layer 2, right? Led by Igloo Inc. And Luca Nets. And so initially you look at it as a nice play, as a coin that will help you with the GGE, right? You're going to get XP for holding it on Abstract. Simple win. And especially you get more XP because it's a higher market cap compared to the other coins on Abstract. And so overall, coin is designed as perpetual running, right? We look at GUGO as a duck that runs. It runs nonstop. It ran from a pool and on Moonshot, which is the launch pad that it launched on, and just kept running from there. And so we look at it as even more than a meme, though, right? So we look at it as actually like signifying get up and get outside. Actually something unique and different, bringing to the crypto space, and actually, bridging out and, people running on the timeline, but also running in real life. And so that's what we're ultimately like really excited about. We love, as you can see by the memes, we love our memes and we love everything on the timeline. We love the action. We love to share things and we love to be aggressive. It's a huge AI based community, which makes it different. It's not a lot of hand drawn art, but that's the lore and the incentive that kind of grew with it. It's able that anybody is able to do anything and is able to create with. We have some really good community members in it who love AI, and they build together. They build unique videos, the different art. And then when you look at the social feed for the GUGO, the Run with GUGO X account itself, it's all about storytelling. Everything that's put on there is like deep into stories. It's all built through AI, but it's all deep into like the stories and what he talks about, and how he talks about those things and how he builds upon those. And so that's the really fun thing about it. It's all the simple duck that runs, but it never stops running. And that's the idea. We live in crypto where we always say like it never stops going up, but like eventually like what we want to create is a system where running on the timeline is one thing, but even running harder when it goes down, that can be a thing also. And so that's one of the things we're building is when we look at staking and we look at the rewards platform that's coming into GUGO, if the coin does go down, you have to run a little bit harder to earn your staking rate. And so you have to run harder on the timeline to actually produce your staking rewards to get even higher. There has to be more posts and more action. And so running in that perpetual movement is like the vision overall. But I mean, I'll say my last little bit, but like, the community itself, it was formed out of ETH native NFT projects. And so, when we look at, Lazy Lions, of course, a middle-class community, 0.05 ETH, NFT, not tons and tons of volume and not tons and tons of respect in the space, but we is a largely middle class community that works and has money and is able to buy things. And so as undervalued as people perceive us, we're lost a lot. And so when we got together and we started recommending that our community come over and join in GUGO also, we started to have other communities join with us, and we kept having more and more and more. And so we'll start to see more and more of that, but I mean there's tons of different communities doing it. And so that's what we're really excited about, all these ETH NFT communities coming to explore Abstract with us, and then really growing from there, especially as we approach TGE for Abstract and the growth of Abstract chain overall.
He's such a good storyteller. My gosh, I almost didn't want. I just going to keep you talking for like another 30 minutes or so.
I could probably go on for a while.
I'm sure you could. So a couple questions for sure. I love that it stands for get up and get outside. I think it's so that's such a great a great statement and sentiment. It's one of those things where the memetics just come together and build something really strong. So I guess the first question I'm going to ask is, why did you decide to go with Abstract?
So there's actually a dev that ultimately created it. I'm not the actual founder. So I run GUGO Labs, which is an offshoot basically of GUGO. The dev is Anon, and he wanted to be anonymous and stay anonymous. And with any meme coin, you need a true leadership team to actually drive it in public facing. And so, that's what we created the company GUGO Labs that kind of handles that. And then it's myself, DD King, Eco from Ghost Lab and World of Women, and Leaf and Duckmaster from Wind Goods. And so, we're a group that's, pushing it actively as, we set up the corporate account to really push that out and drive the vision differently. The reason Abstract overall is, it's really based on a bet on Luca and a bet on Abstract continuing to be that rewards style platform, which I think it can be if they continue to push that way. And we see that with their integration with Privy, and we've seen that, as they continue to grow and push that to make it really simple, easy for users to onboard, create a wallet, buy a coin, get rewarded in a coin, really all of that put together, make it a really interesting chain for, I think, should be for a lot of new coins out there and new NFT projects.
Robert, do you have any questions for Kenko about GUGO?
Any inspiration from Forrest Gump?
No, we play around with that a lot though too, because we do love the just run. I think we take a lot of things in society and apply them with memes. And I think, really everything we do, I mean, when we say just run, I mean, it's a play off Nike also, right? And you look at all those things and it's a duck. And actually, I mean, the office, the Oregon college looked at it for a while also. They kind of looked at it and they're like, can we be associated with the meme coin? You know, because they want it, colleges and universities, they're like, we want to be more involved in crypto, but how can we do it like respectively? And so, you know, you look at all these cool things and they're poking around and having a product that's like mainstream and focused, you know, not necessarily on, you know, just strictly like it's a coin and it's nothing else. It only exists in that. But when we approach it as, you know, get up and get outside as a brand in itself, and then we launch, you know, our brand products that are really meant for consumers. They're not meant for crypto community.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a good story.
Sorry, my brain's working because you just mentioned, you know, Oregon, University of Oregon, and that I'll talk to you offline about it. I was like, there's some ideas that have just come into my head. So just out of curiosity, does the duck have a name? Is it GUGO?
We call it GUGO. So, I mean, that we call the duck GUGO. So I would say yes. That's
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I now, because we were on a space together. That's how we were, we got linked up. But and I gave you on that space, I don't know if you remember this, I gave you the idea of having duck feet to give out at East Denver in February. But which I think is, I think I would wear them. I would wear the hell out of those because it's a great talking point, right? You know, get people talking about what's going on, and people are going to be walking, you know, all over East Denver. But speaking of that, you know, what's the overall roadmap for the project moving forward? Obviously, you've kind of started a movement here. People are taking it. People are using AI to kind of generate more interesting memes and things that are interesting. And we talked about, you know, your secrets to building a community at the top of the show. Would love to hear more about what you guys have on the roadmap for the project.
Yeah, so we'll look at a couple of like short-term, long-term. Like short-term, you know, we're going to introduce staking here probably in 7 days. And so we'll have a staking rewards platform. And so
an actual one, huh?
Yeah, so like we'll have one of those that everybody else has. And so, you know, but that's just one thing, right? And you know, that's my funny joke, right? Staking event.
Yeah, that's why I laughed when you actually like, oh really? That's awesome. Because it's always
exactly
been fun.
like right. Because I think the timer resets every time you refresh it. But but no, so we launched that, but that's like just a crazy thing that crypto communities do, right? You throw staking in there and there's no revenue attached to it. Like, how do you actually drive rewards? And so that's more the long-term vision, and some of it's more intermediate vision in that also, because we had a hackathon with the bearish community, and so, I mean, we have a couple of games in the pipeline that will actually drive revenue also. The dev also is making a couple things that will also drive revenue, working on a couple secret projects. And so that's, you know, kind of one of the other unique things you have. You have like this core Google Labs community team that's actually building unique things, and we're building the staking and all that type of stuff. But then you have the dev who's actually building some games also. But then you bridge that with kind of our main kind of brand building itself, and where we take the get up and get outside and really push that forward. And so that's where we get into, you know, actually like real life products, and we look to compete with a lot of the hydration drinks in the space, and we look at going head to head with like Prime and those in the space, and really approach it differently, because we can actually do something that's actually reward and incentive based besides just social media, buy what Jake Paul tells you to. And so, you know, I think that's what the unique thing is, and that's why Abstract makes sense, because it's so easy to build a rewards platform. And that's something that I'm building now, is where you can actually like buy a product and actually get rewarded for it, you know, in an effective way, because you post about it on socials, you should earn for that. And I think if we can do that in a unique way and give it to users on Instagram, on Facebook, and then reward them in unique ways with GUGO points that can be transferred into GUGO, all through a dashboard that they don't even know that they're not really using crypto or getting, you know, even rewarded in crypto coins, I think is a unique differential that actually like you will make it even more viral, as opposed to just something that's on crypto Twitter right now.
Interesting. There's so much running. There's so much running vibes here. So are you guys looking to possibly partner with some actual athletes to kind of push this forward?
We are, and so I know some people in Atlanta, but like you know, there's some couple things we're looking at, but you know, so first off, right, so when you look at a brand, like, and you look at a project, because I've, you know, been in NFT space for a while, you know, like, do you partner with a big brand and just, you know, partner and like loop off there and grow their brand, or do you create your own? And I think, that's a tough point. We're talking to a couple larger or mid-tier companies currently about, whether we should push their brand and grow their brand to a top 3, or release our own, and start off, barely anything and try to grow into a top 10. And so I think that's kind of where we're at right now. And both of those come with athletes and pushing in that narrative and direction. Everybody has a couple connections, but I mean, I'm a big small man guy, and so I mean that comes from a lot of different NIL people and approaching athletes in different directions. You've seen this with poker and a lot of golfers, of how they get equity in companies and really grow with it over time. And you saw that with like the long drink. I don't know if you've played. You look at that also, it's a liquor drink, but all the golfers, were given a percentage of it, and they push it like crazy now, and now it's in every golf course, in the United States. And so I think you see those type of things where it's like, they were given equity percentage of something, and all of a sudden they just blew it up. And you see that, all over the space. And I think in crypto, I think there's a lot more opportunity with that, with what we can do with RWA and really like, the likes of that, and to really grow it and be different and reward users, which is like always my bottom line.
RWA with GUGO, that sounds fascinating. Huh.
Yeah.
No, I love the idea.
Well, when you look at, so Duckmaster, right? I don't know if you're familiar with Wend Goods. Duckmaster owns Wend Goods, and they have Roar Jerky, which is Lazy Lion, character driven beef jerky in GNC stores. It's sold on Amazon.
I did not know that.
Products. Yeah, and so you have those products everywhere, and then he has a drink also. He has wine and all these different NFTs that are connected to this with the unique reward systems. And so we have the basis for like tons of different things right under our nose, I guess, if you will, right? And so we're a lot of these NFT communities that don't get a lot of respect, but we drive a lot of value, and we can drive community, and like we can actually like deliver goods and services and products to a national scale.
That's fascinating. I mean, thank you so much for sharing all of this. I mean, guys, if you're ever curious about what hustle looks like, wrong way. Hustle. There's some really great hustlers in this group in terms of just going out, getting things done. Like you mentioned, getting lost in the shuffle of being in the quote unquote the middle class. There's a lot of value, like I mentioned earlier, in small and medium businesses like this that are looking for, I mean, they have really good minds, really good vision. Support small businesses, support medium businesses like this. They're out there trying to, really spread a really good message. Not everyone's going to have the gazillions of dollars for marketing that some of these big brands seemingly just find. But a lot of these things that are like, fairly homegrown. This is fantastic marketing, guys. If you're curious about how good marketing looks and how things are going to look moving forward, study all these guys. They're just killing it right now from what I've been seeing. So yeah, no, this has been fantastic to see the work that you guys are doing. I just want to shout out your community, because I don't know how they got in early, but for some reason, we start the show at 1 p.m. Eastern, but at 2 a.m, we got John B, we got Dallas coming on at 2 a.m. saying, talking about GUGO. I'm like, how'd that even happen? But also wanted to say, hello to the Fameless, and I'm not sure if this gentleman's from Bearish. Yeah, there you go. Tiff's Peak. So
he's
shout out to everybody there.
Community.
Shout out
we
to
travel
the
in packs.
There we go.
That's why, I mean, the crazy thing, and so like this will be my last point, but like CoinMarketCap had a contest to like be featured on the front page, and we attacked it, and they ran it for like 3 days, and they were like, you guys just don't quit. And even the OpenSea Zach, who runs a lot of things for OpenSea, was like, you guys are just like tracking my comments, and as soon as I post anything, you guys are all over it. And I think that's like, sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't, but in this space, being there and being seen is like worth like a lot more than being not seen. And so people recognize it, and we're rewarded for it. And we were on the front page of CMC. CoinGecko CEO bought a bunch, and so we have all of these like big people coming in, and so it's very interesting to see like what a group of like-minded middle-class people on the timeline can do.
I love it. Shout out to the middle class. Shout out to the middle class. Go ahead and let the people know how to buy GUGO.
Buy GUGO on Abstract. You can go and create a wallet on at abs.xyz, or you can go to runwithgugo.com, click buy GUGO. It will walk you through setting up an Abstract wallet, buying GUGO, and add the token to your wallet. If you buy it directly through MetaBax or the Abstract wallet, you have a lot of options. We have it all there for you. If you have any questions, pop on X, pop in our Discord. We're also doing a huge showdown tournament next month in October, where we have tons of NFT prizes. Anybody can come in, check it out, introduce yourselves, learn some more. We'll be glad to have you. We're all about having some fun.
Yeah, right there. This showdown on October 1st. My gosh, I can't believe October 1st is already here.
Yeah, we're super close.
Yeah, this will be a fun little event to check out. So again, thanks so much for being here, Kenko, for being on the show. Really enjoyed having you. Really enjoyed all of the takes that you had as well. I know you've been in the space a while, so really appreciated that. Please let everybody know where they can find you.
You can find me on X at Web3 Kaneco, it's Kaneco. Check me out there. That's where you find me the most.
Awesome. Thanks again for being here. Come back anytime. Would love to have you. Robert.
Appreciate you guys.
Talk to me, brother. Tell me about Talisman 3.0, now expanding to Solana, guys. That's the main reason to go check it out. And you've got a big tokenomics reveal next week for Talisman. Tell us more about where they can find you, where they can find Talisman.
Yeah, so Talisman, follow us on at We Are Talisman. We'll be announcing the AMA soon. I think tomorrow, and so look for the details there. TG is coming up mid-October. Last couple of weeks here to earn a few points if you want a little something around TG. And so you find me on X at Omega__84. And yeah, we're an EVM wallet, dipping our toes into DeFi more and more. Got a DeFi roadmap ahead of us, DeFi AI as well.
Best wallet for BitTensor as well, my personal.
And yeah, already the best wallet for BitTensor, widely used and respected in the BitTensor community. And we just added Solana, so a lot to be excited about there.
Nice.
Awesome. Thanks again, gentlemen, for being here. Banger show. We've been doing this show every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, roughly around there, since December of 2021. Our goal to educate you guys, introducing you to more communities, telling you more about the week's news and on-chain investing and how that can be used for your decision making. Of course, none of this is financial advice. Go out and do your research, but support these guys, support Talisman, support Run with GUGO. Shout out to the GUGO crowd for being here live with us today, and all of you here every week to see what we do. We'll see you with our next call. We have our free community training called Beat the Banks, Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. You can check it out on our Twitter at beacondefi.io. Please feel free to like, follow, subscribe, and follow us on all of our socials, because we're here to educate. We're here to help. Till then, we'll see you next time. And yeah, thanks for being here with us. We say here on the show, beacons up, banks down. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next week. Stick around, gentlemen.
See ya.